If you're struggling to scale one marketing channel right now, the worst possible decision that you can make is just chasing a new one. And the reason this is so dangerous is simple. Because every other channel looks amazing when the one that you're in isn't performing. And when something feels hard, your brain doesn't say, oh, let's stay and improve. It tells you to escape. And that instinct is exactly what keeps most businesses stuck. But as a common saying goes, if the grass is greener on the other side, it's typically turf, because there's no perfect strategy or platform, and every single platform has its own shit. You just need to be able to bear with it long enough to actually see the fruits. What is going on, guys? My name is John Magner, and I've built multiple B2B companies to $500,000 to $1 million per month. So what I'm showing you here is through actual strategy, not theory. Let's get into it. And the reality is that every single marketing channel looks broken right before it starts working. And the companies that scale aren't smarter than you. They're just the ones that didn't quit when it got uncomfortable. And you've seen this cycle before. When ads aren't converting, suddenly cold email looks extremely easy. And then when that doesn't work, it looks way easier to go to content, and constantly cycling this out. But here's the part that no one tells you. Every single channel is hard, and every single channel has its own friction and volatility. But real feedback, you're not failing because the channel is simply broken. You're failing because you haven't stayed in it long enough for the learning curve to actually turn into leverage. And the reality is you're just not testing enough. And let me give you some perspective. Right now on January 5th, if you go onto Meta Ad Library, Alex Hormozi is currently running over 230 creatives on Meta for his personal brand alone. School, his portfolio company, is currently running over 3,000 ads, and Greg Cardone is running over 450 ads. Okay, so let's pause for a second. Do you guys actually believe that every single ad is crushing it and hitting their numbers? Of course not. Most of them are average, some are probably losing money, but a small percentage of them, I guarantee you, are working extremely well. And that small percentage pays for everything else. And according to Meta's own data, over 80% of ad performance comes from creative testing, not targeting. So that means the algorithm doesn't need genius, it simply needs more volume and more iteration. And the reality is scaled ad accounts aren't confident, they're simply mathematical. They expect most ideas to fail, they just test fast enough to find the few that actually win. And here's what most B2B businesses actually do. They simply just go out and launch a couple ads, maybe one underperforms and one doesn't convert fast enough, and they go ahead and just make the judgment that Meta doesn't work for their industry. So then they go out and switch. And then the cycle constantly goes and continues. Not because the channels don't work, but simply because feeling productive, not because the channels don't work, but because quitting feels productive when you're uncomfortable. And switching channels gives you the relief, but staying and fixing results is ultimately going to give you the long-term results, which is going to give you, in the end, way more relief than switching platforms. And the reality is most businesses don't fail because they chose the wrong channel. They fail because quitting gives them emotional relief, and relief is often mistaken for strategy. And here's how most companies that scale actually think. They don't look for the channel that just magically works. They assume that the channel works, and then they go out and ask, well, how can we out-test everyone else inside it? And they accept upfront that most creatives are not going to work, most hooks are going to underperform, and most angles are going to flop. And instead of them getting emotional, they simply let the volume surface signal. And this is why ad professionals don't say, oh, well, ads don't work. They say, oh, well, we haven't tested enough angles yet. And when you see someone running hundreds or even thousands of ads, it's not confidence, it's simply just math. They're not trying to be clever, they're simply trying to give the platform enough data to actually learn the messaging. And the difference between a stalled account and a scaled one is almost never targeting, budget, or even these secret hacks that these gurus talk about. It's creative volume and message refinement. And most businesses quit one iteration before they actually would have found the winner. And most business owners, they never find the winning message on ads because they simply just stop testing right before the data starts talking to you. And the reality is if you're a business owner under 7 figures, here's what actually matters. You don't need 5 different marketing channels. You need one dialed in channel that you can commit long enough to actually learn. And you don't need 10 avatars. You need one ideal client profile with multiple pain points that you can test aggressively. Because you don't need brand new ideas every single week. You need disciplined iteration on what's already showing signal. And according to B2B growth benchmarks, companies that double down on one channel actually outperform multi-channel starters by 30 to 50% in CAC efficiency in the past 12 months. So the biggest way to actually scale is to focus one thing and just triple down on it. And scaling happens when you stop resetting and start compounding. And the fastest way to constantly stay small is just starting over. And the fastest way to scale is just boring. Test more that feels reasonable, stay longer than feels comfortable, and let data replace emotion. Because every big business that you admire went through this exact awkward phase, and they didn't escape it, they simply survived it. And scaling isn't about finding the perfect channel, because that does not exist. It's about staying long enough in one channel for the math to actually work. So look, if you're a B2B business owner and you feel stuck right now, chances are you don't need a new channel. You need a better system for testing, iterating, and scaling the one that you're already in. And that's actually how real growth happens. So if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're a B2B business owner looking to scale, comment scale, and I'll send you over my free scaling guide. We'll see you guys in the next video.